I'm going to turn it over now to John Raybar. John is the chair of this year's Winners for Life program. Please welcome John.
Thanks, sir. Good afternoon. I'm here to try and describe what the Winners for Life program is. And it's where we use the schools to identify students that have come through with incredible hardships and have flourished because of those hardships. This year is no different. These young men and women have both experienced incredibly difficult situations and turned those moments into opportunity. So let me tell you a little bit about the challenges our students this year have faced. We have young adults who have taken this on as their own country. Some came here not speaking English, and yet they're active in our community, trying to make it better. They have come from Africa, from South America, and from Ireland. We have young adults who are so driven that they're attending Running Start, missing out on high school experiences to make the most of the moment today. We have students who go to school during the day and go to work in the evening. They work to help support their families. We have other students who are completely independent and are living on their own. We have students who grew up in foster care. We have, so maybe you're wondering what the common denominator with all these students are. And to quote the Seahawks, it would be grit. When I talk to my family, I call it determination. These students are winners for life because they are achievers and because they're leaders in our community. They're the young talent that's coming up. So thank you. Bill, could you?
Thanks, John. I'm going to use the mic stand. I love this club. I love this program. Do you ever wonder what becomes of our Winners for Life after today? Well, step forward, Jeanette, so they can all see you. When I was club president in 2007, just before our Winners for Life celebration, Don Nielsen came charging up to me and said, "You've got to come meet this incredible, extraordinary young woman." That introduction launched a wonderful friendship, and by any definition, Jeanette Mukwege is indeed an extraordinary young woman. At age 6, she lost her mother and father and older brothers in the Rwanda genocide. She eventually ended up in a Kenyan orphanage where she learned French and was a good student. In late 2003, at age 16, she landed in Seattle alone and speaking no English. She enrolled in Garfield High School, shout out for Garfield. Well, where are the Garfield folk? Yeah. And lived with host families and worked part-time jobs. She'd never seen a woman driving a car until she arrived here. She needed a car to get from school to work and home again, and she vowed to learn to drive as soon as possible. She took driver's ed and saved her money. She spotted a car on Craigslist, hopped a bus to Kirkland, bought the car, and drove it home. Her host family was in disbelief when she told them it was her car, but like many folks, they soon learned never underestimate Jeanette. In 2007, she graduated from high school and earned admission to the University of Washington as a STEM major. She received a Winner for Life scholarship. She quickly settled into life in the dorm, but was forced to park her beloved car on the streets north of campus. Early in her second quarter, she walked out in the pre-dawn hours to move her car so it wouldn't be ticketed or towed. She was brutally attacked, repeatedly beaten about the head with a hammer. Her cell phone was stolen, and she was left for dead. No one came to her aid. Barely alive, she somehow managed to crawl into her car and drove to the gatehouse at the university, where she lost consciousness. She spent the next few months in Harborview. UW President Mark Emmert came to visit her in the ICU and assured her that she would not lose her spot at UW. She had scholarships, including a governor's scholarship, to cover the cost of her education. She was eventually able to return to class and she earned her math degree in 2012, just 1 year behind her original graduation date. Yeah, I told you they would like this. Since then, she's worked and traveled to Europe and Africa. She has her car and her own apartment in Queen Anne and supports herself working 4 different part-time jobs, including as a teacher's aide at North Seattle Community College. But she aspires to a career in accounting. She's taken her accounting classes. She's ready for an entry-level position in an accounting department, ideally at a mid-sized company where she'd benefit from the mentorship of an array of other accountants, cross-trained, and gain the experience needed to build her career. I'm asking, anyone out there need a reliable employee with boundless courage, intelligence, integrity, and determination, plus a personality that will light up any workplace? Please allow me to introduce a true winner for life, Miss Jeanette Mukawazeye.
Thank you. I want to thank you, Bill. I won't say much because he say all. I can say myself. He say all my word. I want to first, I say thank you for all of you have, especially this winner for life. This is the huge opportunity for me, for all another alumni and the current students who has winner for life today. So thank you. So first, I want more focus for these students who have winner for life scholarship because I have been there. I know how it feels, and you have a lot of challenge. I want to tell them, don't really challenge pull you down. So try to take your negative thought and put it positive, working hard, have a mindset, and dream big. Because the more you have a dream, you have idea, you have a goal, no one can do besides you, and you can achieve anything you want to achieve. Don't give up, keep going, and you can achieve anything. My life, I struggle a lot, but I have never have something putting me back. I'm always looking forward, and have a dream and focus in that way, you will get there. So,
Thank you.
thank you so much for having me.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. Thank you. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, Jeanette, and past President Admiral Bill Center. If the program ended now, I would feel that it was a huge success. That was fantastic. Today's a big day in the Seattle School District. This morning, students walked out in solidarity for the students who lost their lives in Florida. And I honestly think that we have reached a new era in our country. We've seen it throughout history when young people say enough, whether it's about war or other social issues. And I think today is a turning point in this country. And I feel, it's hard to describe my feelings, but I feel like we are in good hands, that this young generation is understanding that they do have power, and they do matter, and they can make a difference. So to give you a little background on Winners for Life, these students were nominated by their counselors and other advisors in their schools who know them better than anybody else in the school system. And at the head of that school system is Dr. Larry Nyland. He's been our superintendent in Seattle for the past 4 years. So he's going to talk for a little bit right now. Please welcome Dr. Nyland.
Thank you for inviting me today. It is an awesome day for celebrating youth and the investment in our future. First, to our Winners for Life and to their parents and guardians and friends who are here today, congratulations. The grit and determination that you already have demonstrated will serve you well for many, many, many years to come. Second, thank you to Rotary. Continue to be impressed each year with all of the good things that you do for our community, and particularly for education and for recognizing these winners for life. As Mark just shared, it's an incredible day nationally for us, with young people leading the way throughout our country. And we had a lot of leaders here today in Seattle joining with our students. Governor Inslee was here at Ballard. Mayor Jenny Durkin, I think, was at Roosevelt, and King County Executive Dow Constantine was at West Seattle today. So let's hope that students are, in fact, leading the way, and it will result in steps that will make our schools safer. I want to give you just a brief shout out for Seattle Public Schools. I am pleased to serve in the city where I was born and raised. This is my 4th year as superintendent. Not bad for a retired guy that came as interim. In a few days, I will have served longer than any superintendent in Seattle for the last 11 years. Seattle schools, despite sometimes our challenges, is one of the best kept secrets in our city. And there's a few brochures on your table that look like this, and there's more on the table as you go out today. And it's chock full with a lot of great things happening in Seattle Public Schools. So 4 big messages that I want to leave with you just briefly. First, Seattle is a high-performing urban district. Out of 200 urban districts in the United States of America, Seattle Public Schools is 3rd in the number of students and the amount of growth between 3rd grade and 8th grade. We provide great value, and we help change lives each and every day. Second, you've heard that opportunity gaps are a challenge for us, and they are. We also rank high nationally in terms of our opportunity gap. However, our African American students and our students of color have increased graduation rates by 12% over the last 4 years, and we've closed that gap by about 1/3. Third, nobody has the answer for how to do this, but we're learning. We have 25 of our schools that far outperform the state in closing gaps. And we're learning from each one of those. 3 of our middle schools, the 3 middle schools that have the most African American students, also have number 1, number 2, number 3, the 3 highest scoring scores for African American students in the state of Washington. So they're leading the state in figuring out how to close those gaps. And we're stealing those good ideas and implementing them in the rest of our schools. And 2 of our schools have been named in the top 1% nationally in closing gaps. So again, we don't have all the answers, but we're committed, we own it, and we're working on it. Our students on average outperform our peers statewide and nationally by at least 1 full grade level. So SBS is a great investment, and it's a great opportunity for our students. Thank you to Rotary for investing in these students. Thank you for investing in education. Thank you for investing in our community. And again, to our Winners for Life, congratulations. You're well on your way.
So now to our keynote speaker today, and I think it is so fitting that Jordan Babineaux is our keynote speaker today. Why, you ask? Well, here's why. In 2004, he was an undrafted free agent selected by the Seattle Seahawks. And if you think about it, our winners for life are, for lack of a better term, they are undrafted free agents in life. They're not recognized as the top of the top, the best of the best yet. Today is a big part of recognizing them for who they are. As an undrafted free agent, they don't roll out the red carpet for you. They sign you, or you try out, and you hope you get signed, and then you have to prove yourself. At practice, at games, day in, day out, week in, week out. Undrafted free agents are hungry, and they're talented, and they have to work hard to succeed, just like our Winners for Life. Please welcome Jordan Babineaux.
Greetings. Mike, greetings. Thank you. Yeah. I usually like to start all of my talks by sharing a poem or something inspirational. And one of my favorite poems, Langston Hughes' Mother to Son. And it goes like this. Most of you have heard it. Well, son, I tell you, life for me ain't been no crystal stair. It's had tacks in it and splinters and boards torn up and places with no carpet on the floor, bare. But all the time eyes are still climbing and reaching landings and turning corners and sometimes going in the dark where there ain't been no light. So boy, don't you turn back. Don't you sit down on the steps 'cause you finds it kinda harder. Don't you fall now, for eyes are still going, honey. Eyes are still climbing, and life, for me, ain't been no crystal stair. You see, to me, that poem is very descriptive of me. And as I stand in front of all of our recipients today, it, in many ways, describes our young people. No carpet on the floor, bare, still going and still persevering through all of your circumstances. Whether it's economical issues, different disabilities or challenges that you've had to overcome, you've attained success academically, and thank you to the Seattle Rotary for recognizing and contributing such value in our youth and our future leaders of our country. A little about myself. I grew up in Texas, Port Arthur, Texas, small town. And I started playing football at the age of 7. Now, when you're a child, you follow along professional sports, you idolize all of those who are the superstars, and in your mind, while you're out on that basketball court or you're on that football field, envisioning yourself to be who that superstar that you value and kind of praise the most. And that was me. Little did I know that vision, that little thought was as powerful as it giving me direction and influence on what was yet to come ahead of me. Undrafted free agent that attended Southern Arkansas University, get a call from the Seattle Seahawks to say that they want to sign me to the football team. And I guess I was that naive to believe that that was my claim to fame, because in that instance, I knew that failure wasn't an option. I knew that regardless of their investments, meaning their draft picks, which I didn't have any clue about how all of that worked. In my mind, it was about outworking my competitor. And so that was my approach every day when I took the field. It was to come in early, gain knowledge about this great sport, and then apply it on the football field from what I learned in the classroom. All with the ability to do more. And I came in as a cornerback. I had the ability and the knowledge of the sport of football to understand what all of the moving pieces around me were doing, which helped create more value for myself. And I came to this great organization, the Seattle Seahawks, and it was 2004. Mike Holmgren was the head coach. Seahawks was just kind of making the turn of becoming a really great franchise. And now when you look at their core values of what's happened over the last 10 years, when you look at their core values of passion, character, and excellence, to me, I see exactly why this franchise has been a staple throughout the NFL and have been one of the places that many veterans love to come. And even now, what they've done under Pete Carroll have been astounding. So each of you, overcoming adversity, a free agent, at all odds stacked against me. In fact, they just use me as a camp body, and that's never good when you're just a camp body. It's kind of like fill in when the veterans are tired. Again, I had no knowledge of it. I was just happy to be out there. I had a jersey. My name was on the back of it. Life was great. I guess I didn't understand what it meant to have doubt and be in this situation. And so I approached it full throttle, gave it my all. I overcommitted, and I outworked my competitors. I definitely want to thank the Seattle Rotary for an opportunity to stand before you and allowing me to take part in the next step for our young generation. And one of the things I want you to know, just as Jeanette has had success in the last 10 years being in the same seats as you, to graduate college and now receive certification as a CPA, when you hear her story, these words really resonate with me. Where determination is, a way can be found. Where determination is, a way can be found. You see, I knew at some point I would have an impact on a lot of people. I didn't know how. I didn't leave that up to me. I just put in my work and did what I could to position myself and become attractive to have that kind of influence on a community of people that I still am in awe with some of the things that I've been able to accomplish. And it wasn't because of me. It was because of me making the decision, but I left the result up to a higher power. And I think that's what you have to do, my young stars, is to commit. Make the commitment. And even though you don't know what's on the other side, or you take a step in the dark, just know that that step will be there to catch you when you step. You may not know how you're going to get there, but if you commit to the process, then the prize will be well worth it. I want to leave a moment for us to, or for you to have conversation with me, a small Q&A if we can, if we have time, if that's okay. And I know a lot's happening in the off season. You guys wondering what the heck is happening with your football club. I'm not the general manager. Although I did see John Snyder last night at dinner, and I tapped him on the shoulder, and I said, how's your off season going? I said, everything okay? And he looked up at me without a doubt and said, this is going to be the best one ever. Yes, yes. You know, and while everyone else outside of those walls of the Virginia Mason Athletic Center, the Seahawks headquarters, have doubt and a little apprehension of what's going to happen with the love of their sports team. You know, those Pete Carroll and John Snyder, two heads together, making it work, planning, and kind of drawing out the next steps for this ball club. And to me, when you have that kind of leadership, there's no doubt. It helps you eliminate that doubt. So I'll open it up for Q&A, a few questions. If some of my young scholars have questions, I would love to hear from you.
So Jordan, our president, has a question.
Oh, of course. Why not?
Not that I'm a microphone hog or anything. Wikipedia. Babineaux is most notable for his game-saving effort in 2006 NFC wildcard when he tackled Dallas quarterback Tony Romo. Fourth down scramble just short of the first down marker after Romo fumbled the snap for what might have been a game-winning field goal for the Cowboys. He also intercepted a Drew Bledsoe pass against the Cowboys in 2005 with 3 seconds remaining, allowing his kicker to kick the game-winning field goal as time expired. I want to know, in your mind, for the rest of your life, after you're now retired, do those moments, are they just as fresh as they were when they happened? And what allowed you to make those plays?
So for the last 5 years, I've been transitioning away from football. My current role with the Seahawks is really an ambassador for the franchise. I've been to China to make the connection with the 12th man and their love for Seahawks, building and connecting our international audience. I've attended a number of events as a representative of the ball club and really involved in the community. So to take you back, to those years when I was on the field and had success, I guess the best thing now for me accomplishing that kind of success is about as close as I'll come to ever making a hole-in-one. I channel that in many other ways. While at that moment trust me, I thoroughly enjoyed every moment as a professional football player, both good and bad, dealing with the pressure of job security. This is a performance industry because it's what have you done for me lately. You go through financial challenges and understanding how to deal with money, to relationship challenges and how to balance life and still be the best at what you're doing. I enjoyed it. While those memories still bring joy to my heart, what's really defined success for me now since leaving football is how people remember me. And I want people to understand and view me as a person who had meaningful impact on the community, meaningful impact on people. I was speaking with the dean at Seattle U before we walked in here, and I was telling him that I almost went to Seattle U to pursue my sports administration and leadership certificate, but instead I started a transportation company. And that transportation company is called Assure Ride, and what we do, working with the school district, we provide transportation for those who are displaced, deal with homelessness, out-of-district kids, and suffer from economical issues. It's a huge population of kids, and you wouldn't believe. And what I found out while doing it was that we're actually contributing to these kids' success. And one of the things that I really instill in my drivers is that if the kid is not there, go knock on their door. Because to me, it's important for us to have that kind of desire for their well-being. And I found great joy in doing that. I'm finding great joy in doing that and having that impact. And so that's been my transition. I went from on the field to having that success physically to now off the field, transitioning my success and investing in other people.
We have a question here from Todd.
So in the defensive backfield, teamwork is essential. And from season to season, sometimes the roster changes up. You got different players. How do you go about rebuilding that trust individually, one-on-one, and collectively?
Well, I think the first thing you do is, and you hear it all the time, it can be a cliche if you will, but control what you can control. You know, one of the things I laugh at is if you see two people arguing from a distance, you don't know who the fool is. You don't. You don't, right? So, right, control what you can control, right? So I never try to push change on someone else, right, without first looking in the mirror and seeing how or what I can do to be better. And so, right, it starts with being able to be a better individual, and that's your start. I think really for me, I was never the vocal leader that really went to guys and got in their face when if they were slacking or felt that they could have been better. Yeah, it may be in a private conversation, but I really tried to do it through my actions. Right? I really tried to be a leader through how I performed and how I showed up for work, the classroom, attentive in meetings, and that sort of thing. So while we know that change is inevitable in the NFL, one of the things you also have to know as a player is that you're always being watched. And you're always being graded on your performance. And so not in a selfish way, but it's also important to recognize too, you know, your position and livelihood is just as well at stake, and you know, to the success of the team. So.
A question here from Shannon.
Shannon.
This might be a little bit of a complicated question, but I think it's safe to say most of the young people in our room have struggled in many ways, but two ways that I think would be common would be with relationships and with finances, along with opportunity that comes along with those limitations and challenges. My question is, when you came to a point of experiencing success, how did your relationships change with people and with your finances? How did that affect you?
It changed quite a bit, and you know, to the point of finances is that, you know, for a lot of us who grow up in household, neighborhoods, and communities where no one's there to teach you the importance of money or how money works, it loses its value, you know. But what I found out and still discovering is now I'm on a thirst and a quest for constant growth, getting better, right, individually, as a person, as a brother, as a father. And I would tell you, if you want to be happy, study happiness. If you want to be rich, study those who have written their stories and have come from same, if not worse, circumstances than some point of our life we've been or found ourselves. And so it's important now, too, to pick up the books. It's now time, when we were forced in school to read, it wasn't so attractive, to now being able to self-educate yourself to create your fortune. And young people, you're going to have to pick up the books. You're going to have to pick up the books, and you know, a few good reads if you're interested. Think and Grow Rich. I think that's probably one of the first books that many of us read when we started talking about finances. The Richest Man in Babylon, you know, that's another great book. But now it's incumbent upon ourselves that we reach a new level of education by really doing it ourselves. You know, formal education gets you a job, self-education makes you a fortune.
Question back here.
Jordan, thanks for mentioning learning for learning's sake. I think that's a great point.
Yeah,
what resources have you utilized, or what resources were available to you in this transition from professional athletics to the next phase?
The NFL has multiple programs that they offer to professional athletes, anything from business school certificates to entrepreneurial workshops, music, Hollywood boot camps, broadcast boot camps, you name it. And most players tap into those. I was one who did. I attended broadcast boot camp where I had a chance to work under and study with NBC, ABC, CBS, HBO, NFL Network. Wind up working at the NFL Network for 3 years after my final year in Tennessee. And then one of the things too I find really helpful that I don't see, and maybe I don't know, that other ball clubs do, is what the Seahawks do here. And they are connected with their alumni, their legends. You know, and it's always great to see old friends. It's always great to have those private conversations, to hear former teammates' success stories now and how they've transitioned, what they're doing. Most people start their own business. But then there's also lessons in there too, right? You know, I didn't know how to start a business. You know how I did it? I Googled it. How to write a business plan. I'm telling you, man, the internet is one of the greatest resources ever. You know, so we don't have a lack, we're not lacking resources. We're not lacking information. We have that. You can check, you put a check by that box. It's, to me, we lack application. We lack the good habits, right? We lack the disciplines, because those are the things in which would compound over 5 years into success or compound into, you know, something worse, disaster.
Jordan, we have a question way back here.
Pete Carroll is a master of bringing out the best of what I always think of as diamonds in the rough. What do you think he would say to these hidden winners? What kind of message or inspiration do you think he'd give to them?
You want to talk about dealing with adversity. I mean, Pete's one of the best at kind of shifting that negative emotion, right? I think it's important to understand that negative is normal. Like, it's normal. We can't get away from things that happen to us. Keep living, okay? And you'll experience it. I think it's the mindset. No, really, I'm 35. I mean, I'm not the smartest person in the room, nor have I seen both sides of the coin yet. But I've been able to realize the faster you're able to really acknowledge what's happened to you, if it's negative or positive, create a plan or a thought to change it, and then take action, right? And it's the action, it's the continual action of applying, again, those disciplines every day for something better. You know, I tell you, I was a small kid that played football in Texas and played Division II football in college, and you know, it worked. It worked. I mean, only because I was persistent in pursuing what I thought was better for what is there for me. You see, the first thing I did was just claimed it and believed that it would happen. And again, I didn't know how. I just knew it would. I know if I kept pursuing or kept looking to get better at something, eventually a break will happen. It has to. It has to. So in those times of doubt, in those times of worry, and those times when you're able to approach something, you can only look at it two ways. You can approach it with apprehension, or you can approach it as an opportunity. I tend to look at it as great opportunities.
We have a question here from one of the students, Chris from Cleveland.
Is that Steph Curry's little brother?
Yeah, sorry. Nephew.
He's heard that before. I saw this gentleman in the elevator.
Despite your success, do you still face adversity?
Absolutely. Even where I am now, my greatest challenge now is to lead a community of people that can offer a service to other people. And it's finding ways to help more people is probably my greatest challenge. You know, I don't say I have problems or kind of give it that energy of problems, right? Because they can consume you. You can be overwhelmed. You can not feel like you're good enough to surpass them. But just as a 110-meter hurdler is on the track looking at these hurdles, those hurdles are there for you to jump over. And so now it's surrounding yourself with a great support team, a group of people that can help you, right? Some people that you can help as well. And grab a hold to those people who have that invested interest in your better well-being and can give it back.
Oh, question here
So
from
yes,
Jeff.
adversity.
Sorry about that.
Thanks again for joining us today. Congratulations. It's obviously why you beat the long odds and we're on the field for the NFL. And for many of our students, you saw along the way some of your competition had to acknowledge the fact that for them that dream wasn't going to come true. How do you navigate through that transition, and what would you share with the students in terms of being persistent and consistent and yet knowing when it's time to turn the page?
I would say start with an end and finish, with an end in mind. Like, what's my end goal? What am I doing this for? What's my reason behind this? What's my why? When you discover your why, you start to tap into something that's greater than you. And I feel that when you establish that why, the what and the how becomes a little less glorified, right? So you're able to overcome those a little bit easier, because it's not about the price. It's about the prize. And if the prize is big enough, then the price don't matter. You know, for a man who's struggling with diet or struggling with health issues and want to reach a certain goal, weight limit, habit, right? There's sacrifices that has to be made. Do I order the salad or the hamburger, right? Right? So you have to, I think it's important that we establish kind of the groundwork, the direction of where we want to go, understanding that along the way there'll be challenges that are meant for us to overcome, but with the right team and the right group of people that you can lean on, it's important to reach out to them in those moments of discomfort, those moments of confusion. And even now, I do it now. I have quite a few mentors that I tend to call when I need help in making an unbiased decision, or I need help with life situation to get me through the day or get me through a moment. And I think those are important too. So team is important, and mindset is equally important. And I always like to look at the glass half full. I just do. I'm very optimistic. I can't stand negative people. And I really find a heck of a drive and passion and enthusiasm to accomplish things that I never thought that I could when people tell me that I can't. So I dare you. Thank you.
Very well. Thank you. Jordan, thank you so much. What inspiration. So I'm going to call the winners for life to come up on stage in just a minute, but first I wanted to just leave you with a couple of thoughts. Jaime, our member, came up to me and said, Mark, you should remind them that networking is so key to success in life, and he's right. Winners, I encourage you to connect and stay connected to the Rotarian who hosted you today. Find people in the community who are doing what you want to do in life and ask them, even if you don't know them, to have coffee. Hi, I'm so-and-so. I go to this school. I want to do what you do. Can you give me a coffee? And I want to learn from you. I guarantee people will say yes to that. Who you know is a huge part of success in life, and it's not a bad thing. People want to do business with people they know because they can trust them. So it's not a bad thing. So my charge to you winners is to know as many people as you can, get as many business cards as you can today, stay connected with the Rotarian who hosted you today. Who you know will take you very far. And guess what? At some point, some young people will look up to you, and you'll be able to help them succeed in life because you took the time to give them some advice and to give them some time. I want to thank our sign language folks over here. Let's give them a round of applause for helping today. Mike Colbreeze on the totem. Thank you, Mike. Midday Friday, our newsletter comes out, the totem. And also, I wanted to thank our mic handlers, Cindy Runger and Jan Curley. Thank you so much. So if you want to share, winners, if you want to share Jordan's talk today, we have an archive, a video archive at seattlerotary.com. And this service is a 10-year archive of our programs today, and it's made possible by our generous sponsors. Recently, we received word that Jacobs & Jarvis Finance and Accounting is renewing as a financial sponsor of Seattle Rotary Online. Jacobs & Jarvis joins Ken Ham of First Choice Health, Bob Alexander, now retired from Alaska National Insurance. They're at the gold level of our underwriters that make this videotaping and archive possible. You'll find others on the screen next week as well. Seattle Rotary Online is a significant community service opportunity, great marketing, so if you're interested, Dave Endicott is in the back of the room. Okay, at this time, I would like to have the winners come up on stage, and I want to have Jordan come up with them for a group picture. So let's give our winners a round of applause and our appreciation. We'll get a big old group picture. Next week, as they're coming up, I should say next week, we're going to be talking Seattle Sounders. Adrian Hanauer is in Mexico right now, one of the owners of the team. They're playing in the CONCACAF game in Mexico. Let's come on, crowd in, you guys. Squish in. Taller people in the back, shorter people in front. Come on all the way up. Actually, some of you could probably, let's have everybody come forward on the stage, and some of you hop down here. And we'll get our picture. Some of you come just right in here in the middle. Oh, and the link. By the way, hey, winners, you guys now are all eligible to apply for scholarships from the Rotary Club of Seattle. The original email that you got from John has a link on how to apply for the scholarship. Click that link. If you lost the original email, don't worry about it. John is right here. Give him your email, and he'll resend you the link to apply for those scholarships. Make sure everybody can be seen. Come on, get up here. Don't be shy. And let's get a group picture. Jordan, are you in the middle? Okay, good. Okay. Let's give them a round of applause. Winners for life.